each other out. Minnesota trying to kick it up a notch as they trail by 1. They go inside, and it's an easy 2 bucket underneath the basket. And by keeping Liberty out of their settled defense, Minnesota is going to create more and more opportunities for their offense to succeed, being at a fairly significant size disadvantage, particularly in the paint, against the team that has done fairly well defending the paint. Yesterday, in Minnesota's matchup, they had 30 paint points against the Virginia team that they were fairly evenly matched against in terms of size and strength. This Liberty team, though, a little bit of a different makeup, most namely at the center. The leading scorer for the Flames coming into this weekend as Hess knocks down a 3 was Maya BERKMAN. BERKMAN, 6'3", number 20. You could see her on the inside, a commanding presence as Braun tries to get it to go with the spin move, and it is BERKMAN who comes up with the rebound. And this is a game that BERKMAN is going to want to step up in. Yesterday, she did not have her best showing against ECU. More than likely a large part of why they struggled so much offensively, only putting up 64 points. Now the Golden Gophers heading back on the other end. Braun, another 3-point attempt, is short, airballed. And though a teammate was able to grab it, the pass was arid. Will go out the sideline and give it right back to the Flames. And that will take us to our first break of the evening. Your score. Back to the action here in John Paul Jones Arena in the final game of the 36th Cavalier Classic. I'm William Fauché on the ACC Network. Extra, it is Minnesota trailing Liberty 9-7 as the Flames attack the basket with Jordan Bailey. It's up and in. And Bailey going to get an and-one opportunity coming off of an absolutely tremendous game yesterday in the loss to ECU. 19 points, 7 for 15 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3. Bailey was absolutely electrifying, each of those threes coming when Liberty needed them most, despite falling short at the end of 4 quarters. And her one free throw attempt will fall short. The putback from Hess hits the ground, still fighting for it is Hess. The Flames have it. The 3 up into the air, short. She's hit 1 already this afternoon, but that one will not fall. As the substitution made here for Liberty, bringing on Bella Smuda. Smuda, though she didn't appear too heavily on the stat sheet yesterday, was a really quintessential part of Liberty, making a couple big runs, using her size and her strength on the inside to create problems for ECU, grabbing a couple big boards. And Liberty's certainly going to need her today to establish her presence against a team in Minnesota that was dominant in the paint yesterday. 30 paint points for the Golden Gophers. Smuda up top trying to set the screen. Driving the basket down the left alley, and unsuccessfully so was number 12 for Liberty, that is Dee Brown. Up into the air, and there's the and one. Liberty with 1, and now Minnesota with 1, making that bucket was number 21, Michael Caton, the 5'9" graduate student. How about this move? Really slashing through the paint, down to the left side. She gets it up with the left through contact there from number 21, Peen Steenberg. And unlike Liberty, she will convert from the charity stripe. Now 10-11 with 3:21 remaining here in the first quarter. Kennedy Williams trying to engage The Golden Gophers defense, she goes down to Bailey. Bailey off on her mark, and now getting her first touch on the ball, it's Amaya Battle. Lays off the pass, unsuccessful shot, but good to see Battle pushing pace for the Golden Gophers here early. Part of those 3 true freshmen that have been nothing short of electrifying for Minnesota, coming into this weekend averaging 28.6 minutes per game, 39.3% from the field, 33% from three-point. She's averaged 7.2 rebounds and almost 11 points. Her club behind by 1. They could use a spark on offense as Braun steps out. Driving down the left alley, they go to Smuda, and how about that play? A great pass underneath, a good look from Peen Steenberg, and she'll find Bella Smuda for 2. Minnesota trying to establish something in the paint, calling for the ball prolifically is Alana Mishaw. Instead, Braun gonna back this one out. 14 on the shot clock. Inside, up with 2 hands, finishing with the right, and it's a good move there from Alana Mishaw. Averages 13 points this season, 49% from the field. And you can see why her ability to get to the rim has just been prolific for the Golden Gophers. Liberty trying another high screen, worked for him last possession, fumbling the handle, though they're gonna have to recycle as they go to the top of the key. The long 2 off. Williams goes inside to Smuda. Smuda, the size advantage, standing at 6'5", as a redshirt sophomore, and she'll get the whistle and head to the stripe for 2 with 1:38 remaining in the first. As Isabel Gradwell, one of the 3-point specialists on this Gophers team, checks in. It's Smuda at the charity stripe, hits 1. She's a and the 47% free throw shooter Smuda will hit both of hers on this trip to the line. Minnesota trailing by 3. Going to Gradwell, trying to go inside. Smuda all there to break it up, but it's corralled by Braun. Now Braun trying to engage the offense. Inside once again, it's Mishaw, turnaround jumper off the rim, and it's in. Her second bucket of the evening, now 2 for 3 from the field. Alana Mishaw, and a turnover will give Coach Whalen an opportunity to get some subs in. As Amaya Battle, the freshman, will set things up for Minnesota. Once again looking to go inside. You can tell how important the paint presence is to the Golden Gophers, constantly trying to find any space between Smuda and the basket as Battle drives, elevates, and can't get the shot to go. Trying to help them establish that paint presence is Mallory Heyer, who checked in, the 6'1" freshman, Minnesota native. Trying to create the seam inside, an arid pass goes to Braun. Braun, 2-on-2. Blocked at the rim, but thankfully she's got a teammate in Alana Mishaw to back her up. A great initial defensive play, but with no other numbers back, Minnesota gets the bucket, and Liberty will have a last possession. Down to 5, trailing by 1 here in the first. They go to the high post. Smuda nearly fumbled the handle, managed to get the shot off, but it will not go. And despite trailing for a majority of the first quarter, it is the Minnesota Golden Gophers who put together a little run. The 36 Cavalier Classic here in John Paul Jones Arena in the final game of the weekend. It is Liberty and Minnesota, and despite the trailing most of the first quarter, it was a late run by Minnesota to get on top. They lead by 1. I'm William Fauché here on the ACC Network Extra. It has been a great weekend of basketball in Charlottesville, looking to cap it off in a big way, and so is she. That was Borovic, the redshirt freshman for Minnesota, knocking it down from range. And the Golden Gophers have their second made 3 of the evening. Trying to go inside to BERKMAN. Liberty going to turn it over, and this is where Minnesota can really punish Liberty. Fast-paced basketball, moving in transition, and letting their shooters go to work. Liberty did such a good job in the beginning of the first quarter, dictating the pace. Now Minnesota starting to get something going and opening up the floor with their guards. And just a big-time shot to open up the second quarter, exactly what Minnesota was looking for coming out of the period break. Yesterday, they shot 38% from 3, were 8 for 21. Today, the team certainly doing just a little bit better. Now 2 for 5. They're going to look to improve on that stat. Swinging it around. Now Liberty going to try their luck at the 3. No good. Rebound. And it's going to stay there. Kennedy Williams trying to create some space. BERKMAN calling for it profusely. And a pass that seemed lackadaisical, called tipped. It'll go out of bounds and stay with the Flames. 10 on the clock. BERKMAN looking to go up with it, up and in. And the Flames leading scorer, who's averaged 12 points a game coming into this weekend, gets 2 for herself. They go right back to Borovic, and she's got back-to-back threes. Top of the key, corner, wherever, it doesn't matter for the redshirt freshman. Minnesota native, Borovic, actually a third-year redshirt freshman due to COVID. Of course, having a significant shift on everybody's NCAA eligibility, and now she's got a steal down the lane, back pass, it's Gradwell, and she'll get the bucket to go. Out in the second quarter, it is the Katie Borovic show in John Paul Jones Arena. Back-to-back threes, a steal and an assist, making it look easy. And you can see why coming into this weekend, the 3 true freshmen, along with the redshirt freshman in Borovic, were averaging 57 points. Lethal combination of players. And now Liberty really needing to hit these free throws after controlling the majority of the first period, and now letting the Golden Gophers start to go on a run. Knocking down the first is Williams. The second is up and in. And Williams will stay perfect from the charity stripe. Braun with her head up, swinging it around the perimeter. They find Gradwell trying to get the ball inside. They find a teammate, Borovic. A tremendous cut and the finish. Katie Borovic all over the place, displaying her skills and acumen. As that ball kicked out of bounds, it will head to the baseline. You've got to assume that another bucket here from Minnesota. Liberty and head coach Carrie Green are going to look to call a timeout. Starting to see this one slip away from them as they ended the period trailing by 1, now trail by 7. As Jordan Hodges checks back in for the Flames. The primary one for Liberty and Coach Green The shot goes up, off its mark for Bailey. It's Berkman trying to get it back. She won't get the bucket, but she'll get the whistle and head to the charity stripe for 2. The Minnesota foul will be charged to Destiny Oberg, the senior Minnesota native. Now here comes Berkman at the line. A 64% free throw shooter will knock down her first. Liberty as a team has shot their free throws fairly well over the course of the season. 75% from the stripe compared to 63% from the Golden Gophers. And as we saw yesterday in the Virginia-Minnesota game, those free throws could come in very, very handy in the later stretch as Braun puts up the 3, just off the mark, and it will be Berkman corralling the rebound. She's got 3, now 5 rebounds on the day, and Liberty gonna turn her rebound into a bucket. 23-26, a little run from Minnesota, and now Liberty starting to respond. And you can tell as that shot is up from Gradwell and off the mark that it has come with how Liberty has been able to force Minnesota back into a half-court offense. They play much better half-court defense than in transition. They can rely on their communication, their help. And it really has been the pace of the game that has dictated whether Liberty is succeeding or failing both offensively or defensively. Battle, trying to get Braun off the screen. She's gonna fade and take the shot. It's tipped in the paint and goes right back to the Flames, trailing by 3. Hess, up and off her mark. Once again, it's Berkman, no whistle, but a bucket. Maya Berkman starting to find her groove under the basket. The cleanup crew for a plethora of missed Liberty shots. And to try to contain her, Coach Whalen trying to bring in a substitute, giving her a little bit of breathing room. Is that bucket? It's Katie Borovich again, carving her name deeper and deeper into the stat line for Minnesota as Coach Whalen gets that substitute in now. It is the freshman Mallory Heyer coming in to try to contain Berkman and some of the Flames' paint play. Borovich gets the free throw, 4-point lead for the Golden Gophers. Inside, Hodges grabs the pass in the lane, trying to get it back to Berkman. A couple of fingertips on it, but the officials will wave for Minnesota ball, leading by 4. Amaya Battle, a good look, the left-handed shot, and finish is there. It's Angelina Hammond getting her first points of the night. As they go back to the high post. Heyer trying to defend Berkman. Berkman can't get the bucket, but really just imposing her will on the freshman Mallory Heyer. She'll get to the line for 2 and bring us to the break. A 6-point lead for the Golden Gophers with 4:51 remaining in the first half. It's the 36th Cavalier Classic on the remaining in the first half here in John Paul Jones Arena, the final game of the 36th Cavalier Classic on the ACC Network Extra. I'm William Fauché. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for what has been a great game between the Golden Gophers and the Flames. Minnesota leading by 6. But Maya Berkman, the leading scorer for Liberty at the line right now. It really has just been a shooting spree from the Minnesota Golden Gophers. They're shooting 48% from the field, 33% from three and 100% from the charity stripe. That's compared to 34% from the field by Liberty, 12.5% from three, and only 85% from the stripe. Fortunately for them, as the charge is called, this is a Liberty team that consistently is going to get better and better as the game goes on. In their most recent game before this weekend against JMU, they shot 11% in the first, 33% in the second, 43% in the third, and 53% in the fourth. Perhaps they may just be the crock pot waiting to heat up, but right now the Minnesota Golden Gophers have been the microwave, firing on all cylinders early. And while their shooting has perhaps not been quite what they wanted it to be, Minnesota, who is a top 10 rebounding team, currently being out-rebounded by the Liberty Flames. 9-4 overall. Excuse me, 21-11 as you see there. Certainly not what Minnesota would have hoped, but also something that they expected. We talked at the top of the game about the size advantage that Liberty would have on the inside, particularly with their star, Maya BERKMAN. We knew that Minnesota was going to have to push pace to catch the Flames in transition. They've had the most success when they've done that, but thus far against a Minnesota team that scored 30 points in the paint against the University of Virginia, Liberty has really controlled the blue area on the floor. And you can see there is Borovic trying to connect to the outside and just forced to throw it away. As Michael Caton checks back in, the grad student out of California. It's Borovic who's going to get a well-deserved rest. She was certainly the star of the second quarter up to this point. 2 back-to-back threes and an and-one play. As Braun, a fellow freshman on this Golden Gopher squad, ditches it off. Braun, the three-point through contact, no whistle blown. She seemed to hit the ground hard. Now the Flames trying to answer. Off its mark to Maya Battle. Battle lost the handle, but they'll call it off red, and it'll stay with the women in white. And now Liberty, just when Minnesota thinks that they're going to get a break from Maya BERKMAN, Liberty brings in the backup center, Bella Smuda. Smuda, a redshirt sophomore, stands at 6'5", and has consistently been a spark for them on offense and defense as Braun tries to make the backdoor cut, unable to finish the bucket. Now Kennedy Williams setting it up. Bailey off the screen. They go inside to Smuda. Outside, wide open perimeter three, up off its mark, and the Golden Gophers corral the rebound. Battle to the rim, the and one. Amaya Battle, the third true freshman in the trio we've talked so much about, making a big-time play. She's averaged 10.8 points per game coming into this weekend, a 64% free throw shooter, 39% from the field, and how about that finish? Draws a little contact, her speed, her IQ, and of course her ability to finish at the rim make her seem like anything but she is in fact a true freshman. A real indicator of how bright the future is for Lindsay Whalen's squad. As Smuda grabs it, up with it, grabs her own board, and can't finish on either attempt. Now Battle with her head up looking for options down the floor. She goes to Shaw. Got a hand on it, but Smuda's gonna grab it. And now Liberty, in true fashion, is going to slow down the pace and get into their half-court offense. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Smuda slips the defender. Shaw did not see that move coming, and she'll get an easy two, a much needed bucket to end a 2:48 Liberty scoring drought. Inside, Shaw. One on her back, one in front, doesn't matter. She'll still get two and help put her team back up by 8. Kennedy Williams sends one to the ground. It's Borovic on the floor, the kick to the corner, the shot up off its mark, and Minnesota's got it. The crowd giving a good reaction for that move by the redshirt junior. Now the Golden Gophers trying to respond. Borovic goes into Shaw. Shaw sent to the ground, and Minnesota going to have a baseline inbound as checking into the game is number 13, Destiny Oberg, the senior from Burnsville, Minnesota. Oberg at 6'3", going to be tested by the 6'5", Smuda. Another fantastic paint matchup despite the change in personnel for Minnesota as Borovic lays it off to her. The short two jumpers flat out of the hand, and Oberg will give it right back to the Flames. Down to 50 seconds remaining in the half. Audrey Clark looking for teammates, calling for help, being defended tenaciously by Michael Caden. Now Kennedy Williams squaring up. Borovic blown by, wide open, and an and one. How about that explosion of speed from the redshirt junior, Kennedy Williams. Called out her man in Katie Borovic, who has been tremendous for Minnesota on the offensive end. Makes a great move, drives to the basket, and nobody there to stop her. An explosion of speed. And now a chance for a three-point play to bring this within 5. It's up, and it's in for Williams, the 88% free throw shooter, and that will bring us to a 30.2 remaining here in the first half. Liberty trying to come back and claw their way back into this after a strong Minnesota run. Liberty went 2 minutes and 40 seconds without a bucket. Now have strung a couple together. Minnesota trying to close things out. Leading by 5, no shot clock, or excuse me, I guess a 1 second differential. It's a Maya battle, the true freshman. Kennedy Williams in front of her. Williams picks the pocket. Time down to 1 second. Williams gonna get the shot off, the two-point jumper just off its mark, but a big time defensive play to build some momentum going into the second half. At the first half, the score, Minnesota 36, Liberty 31, here in John Paul Jones Arena. The 36th Cavalier Classic will bring you the final. The reason that Minnesota still holds the advantage, well, it comes down to that young woman right there and the entire Golden Gophers shooting squad. Minnesota is 47% from the field, 30% from 3, and 100% from the charity stripe. On the other side, Liberty only shooting 32% from the field, 10% from 3, and 80% from the stripe. The Golden Gophers will get a trip there early after the first possession. It is Shaw heading to the line. And it's essentially going down just as we discussed. Liberty, a larger team than the Minnesota Golden Gophers. They've done a tremendous job. More specifically, Maya BERKMAN has done a tremendous job establishing the Flames' presence in the paint. It's led to rebounds. It's led to second chance opportunities. Unfortunately for them, the outside shots just haven't been falling, and the women in white have been white hot. As the Flames set up their first possession of the second half, someone to keep your eye on is the ball carrier just before that pass as BERKMAN continues her hot streak and goes up for the and one. Wow, what an evening of basketball she is having after a largely quiet day yesterday. BERKMAN is leading the Liberty team with 10 points, 9 rebounds. Now Gradwell trying her first three of the evening, and it's up and in. Just how Minnesota opened up the second quarter. A couple big shots that gave them the lead they held on to for the remainder of the period. And an unforced turnover by Liberty, and Kennedy Williams is going to give them a chance to expand on this 5-point lead. And we talked about BERKMAN for the Flames. For the Golden Gophers, it has been a powerhouse showing from the two freshmen, the ball carrier and now the ball carrier, Borakovic and Braun. Braun sitting with only 3 points. Borakovic with 13, team leading, just ahead of Mishaw. Now she's going to call Mishaw over for a screen. Borakovic looking for a slot. She'll pull up, and right from the elbow, she'll make it look easy. 41-34, and after a late Liberty run, Minnesota starting to pile the points back on top of them. Inside, they go to BERKMAN. BERKMAN defended well, can't get the bucket down, and the Golden Gophers are out once again. Borakovic inside, the shot up, no foul called, but it's higher. Another freshman for the Golden Gophers who gets the 2. Now a 9-point lead. Inside, BERKMAN once again. This time she'll kick. It's Hess, the 3 up off its mark. She fought for the rebound. Grabbing it was Gradwell, but with a foot on the line, it's going to stay with the Liberty Flames, as checking in for Minnesota is number 13, Destiny Oberg, in exchange for Alana Mishaw. Mishaw getting a quick word of advice from head coach Lindsay Whalen, and today, certainly not a day that Coach Whalen will forget. The 4-time WNBA champion, 2-time world champion, and 2-time Olympic gold medalist was announced to be a member of the 2023 Women's Basketball Hall of Fame class just hours ago. She'll be a member of the 24th class inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. There are 187 current inductees, and that ceremony will be held on April 29th in Knoxville, Tennessee. She'll receive the commemorative trophy, the commemorative ring, and have her name etched in women's basketball history, and rightfully so. What a career as a player, and now imparting that knowledge onto the next generation. Certainly paying off the way her young stars have played today and across the early part of this season. Swinging it around, they go to Heyer. Heyer's 3 ball is short, and the rebound going to go to Jordan Bailey. Bailey was the leading scorer for Liberty yesterday against ECU and has not done much today. Only 2 points, 1 for 5 from the field. Now they're going to kick to Hodges. No good. Goes to Braun, and she's looking to move with some pace up the floor. Down to the right wing. Borakovic, she's been tremendous one-on-one with both Hodges and Williams in front of her. This time she'll pass to Heyer. Good spin move, won't go. They'll get this foul on the floor, and it will be holding on Liberty as Oberg tried to go up for the board. One major improvement for Liberty today as opposed to yesterday is how they have limited the number of fouls that they have given yesterday in their game against ECU. The Pirates shot 38 free throws hitting 27 of them. That was 38% of the Pirates' points coming from the charity stripe. And really what made the difference in that game. They've been much more composed today. As Braun's three is out, they'll call it out on they'll call it out on Minnesota, though Coach Whalen and much of the bench thought it would be out on the Flames. And now Borovic going to pick up Kennedy Williams at full court. Inside. There's the move from BERKMAN, the right-handed shot up. A little bit too much on it. She'll draw the foul, and now it's Minnesota ball. And it's been a great 2 days of basketball here in Charlottesville, Virginia, in John Paul Jones Arena. The 36th Cavalier Classic, as Borovic has her shot go out of bounds. 4 teams competed: Minnesota, Liberty, ECU, and of course the University of Virginia. Virginia walking away 2-0, an 8-0 start for the first time since 1992. They bested Minnesota yesterday and ECU this morning. Liberty fell to ECU yesterday. Both of these teams trying to walk out of Charlottesville with at least one win. As a foul is called on the Flames, it will be Minnesota ball. Hess not happy with that call. Really felt like her team had some momentum going. And now Maya BERKMAN will be subbed off the floor in exchange for Bella Smuda, the 6'5" redshirt sophomore. And a couple more subs come on late there. Checking off for Liberty was Hess, and in is Peen Steenberg, another freshman for the Flames. Steenberg didn't see much playing time today, has a much more involved role, yesterday, but a much more involved role today. As that shot's off the rim. Liberty with a lot of movement here offensively, trying to find the seam inside. Smuda gets the shot off. No whistle, couldn't get it to go, and it will be Amaya Battle, who was fouled, trying to get up the floor with some pace. And with that, Liberty's foul troubles will now come back to haunt them as Minnesota enters the bonus with 5 minutes remaining here in the third. A lot of opportunities could arise for them to build on this lead. A 74% free throw shooting team in the Golden Gophers. Battle herself, a 64% free throw shooter. And staying true to that number, she'll miss the first. Battle goes 1 for 1. Williams driving down the lane, no help for her, but she doesn't need it with a quick pull-up two. Bringing it back down to a 7-point deficit. Minnesota trying to go with some pace. Nobody there for the help. Liberty comes up with a break and now could continue to reel this thing in. They've tried time and time again. They've gotten to the doorstep, but have not been able to step through the threshold of this Minnesota lead once they took it in the first. Smuda gets her pocket picked. Borovic with her head up. Pull-up jumper from the free throw line, and she makes it look easy. A little Ty Jerome floater for you there. As time ticks down to 4:15. Liberty 1 for 7 in their last 7 field goal attempts. In desperate need of a bucket on a weekend in which they have not shot their best at all. And ahead of the inbound, we will get a break. 4 minutes remaining. The Liberty Flames shooting 31% from the field and 7% from three, being bested currently by the Minnesota Gophers, but not by too much as they've tried to mount several runs. I'm William Fauché here on the ACC Network Extra. Thank you for joining us in the final game of the Cavalier Classic. It's the Liberty Flames and the Minnesota Golden Gophers as Bella Smuda gets two and helps Liberty break a 1-for-8 field goal streak. Here in the third, they have had a lot of difficulty getting the ball in the basket today, as indicated by the numbers I just said. Despite out-rebounding a top 10 rebounding team in the country, they have just not had the shots falling, whereas Minnesota has been dominant with play like that from their barrage of freshmen. That time it's higher. She'll get her 4th point of the day, 2 for 7 from the field. As a team, Minnesota shooting 44% from the field and almost 30% from three as Smuda kicks that one out. Here comes Steenberg, puts it up, unable to get it to go, but Smuda gives her a lucky break. Still swinging it around, it's Williams driving, Smuda, the put up way short as Amaya Battle came over with a great piece of help defense. Now the other way, the shot is up, no whistle despite the contact, and it'll stay with the Golden Gophers. A reminder, with 2:43 remaining in the third, Minnesota is in the bonus against the Liberty team that really struggled with foul trouble yesterday, allowing the Eastern Carolina Pirates to shoot 38 free throws. Inside ball to Mishaw, goes up, shots off, but that foul is going to go against the redshirt sophomore Bella Smuda. Mishaw, a 78% free throw shooter at the line for two. First is up and in. Now a 10-point lead for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Scratch that, make it 11 as she drains the second. Minnesota tying their largest lead of the evening here in the third period. Williams trying to bob and weave through the defense, looking for Smuda, has that pass intercepted, and now Battle going the other way. Up towards the hoop, it's in, but it will be a travel call on Mishaw. And Liberty's gonna get a lucky break and one that they needed desperately on a 2-for-11 field goal streak. Mishaw a little slow to get up there, helped up in the end by Battle and Hire. Coach Whalen has a word with the officials. It's Kennedy Williams bringing the ball up the floor. Williams and Borovic have been going at it all night together. A lot of one-on-one being played between the 2 point guards as that shot is up and sneaks its way in for Liberty's leading scorer, Maya BERKMAN. She's got 15. As Jordan Bailey, yesterday's leading scorer for Liberty, checks back onto the floor. For Minnesota, it's Battle, Hire, Mishaw, Braun, and Borovic. That time it's Braun who gets the bucket. Now on offense, the Flames, it's Bailey, Williams, Steenberg. And of course, Maya BERKMAN, who kicks that one out to Steenberg. Steenberg is up and it's in. She's all by herself, takes the time and the space and gets a much needed 3-point bucket for her team. They're 1 for 13 from 3 today. As that goes inside to Hire. A great cut, a great pass, and an even better finish. The freshman to freshman combination stays strong for the Golden Gophers. Leading by 10, under a minute remaining. 2 possessions left on the shot clock as Williams tries to bob and weave her way in. There's the kick, the three-pointer off its mark. And with a 7-second differential between shot and game here in the third, it's the Golden Gophers with Battle at the point. There's the high ball screen, the shot, up, tipped, down to Baravic. She corrals it. 16 seconds, shot clock is off, and the Golden Gophers are going to hold for a last possession. They did this at the end of the half. Liberty managed to poke it away. Inside, great pick and roll. It's up, the bucket is off, but with 2.6, it's Alana Mishaw heading to the charity stripe for 2. How about that play? Minnesota executing the pick and roll to perfection this quarter, creating a lot of opportunities at the rim. And now with a 10-point lead, Alana Mishaw has an opportunity to extend it to 12. And off her mark on the first attempt. .78% free throw shooter, goes 1 for 1 from the line with 2.6 remaining. Minnesota in the full court press, 2 seconds ticking down. It's Williams. The heave goes way short, barely makes it to the paint. And the third quarter horn sounds. We've got 1 quarter of basketball, 10 minutes remaining in the 2022 Cavalier Classic, coming to you live after the break. Ten minutes remaining in John Paul Jones Arena, and it is the Minnesota Golden Gophers and the Liberty Flames duking it out. Minnesota leading by 10 after an explosive run. It has been a tough shooting day for the Liberty Flames despite out-rebounding a top 10 rebounding team in the country up to this point. They just need one to fall. 2 for 15 from 3-point. And they'll turn the ball over there. It's Amaya Battle who has had a spectacular weekend of play, bringing it up for the Golden Gophers. Minnesota is so composed on offense despite how many freshmen they play. 3 true freshmen on the floor right now. They take the shot clock so low, making it so difficult for teams to make runs against them. As BERKMAN is fouled, they'll say it's Liberty ball. Charged with the foul will be Rose Mishaw. And now Kennedy Williams going to the high post. All by herself, nobody really willing to pick her up. Fairly comfortable with her taking that deep shot because you see what she can do at the rim. Maya BERKMAN tacks on another 2. She's got 17 today. The fadeaway from Oberg goes. A flat line shot. Sneaks its way above the rim for 2. Minnesota's highest lead, largest rather, today, as Braun steps out to pick up Steenberg. Steenberg had a big corner 3 from the near side for Liberty earlier in the third quarter. And driving largely uncontested to the basket is Kennedy Williams. They go inside to Oberg. There's the cut from Battle. She bobbled the pass. Hire's got it, tries to put it up, can't get it to go. And it'll be Jordan Bailey. Mentioned it several times, quiet today, explosive. yesterday for Liberty. And acknowledging the importance of this possession, trailing by 9, head coach Kerry Green will call a timeout. Back to the action, 57-48, Minnesota leads Liberty. Liberty calling a timeout ahead of quite possibly their most important possession of the game with 7:45 remaining here on the ACC Network Extra. I'm William Fauché as a travel is called. Another unforced turnover for Liberty, and they are continued to be plagued by those as Peen Steenberg called for the travel. She will be taken off the floor immediately after. And now Minnesota a chance to build on their lead. Another great off-ball cut, but couldn't get the bucket to go. The way that the Golden Gophers have been moving on offense has created a remarkable amount of open shots. They've been slipping past their defenders. They've been using off-ball screens, and it has really played to their advantage and is a massive part of why they lead this game by 9. Jordan Bailey at the top of the key for the Flames. Really need one here, as BERKMAN goes up and in, making it look easy. She's now got 21 of the team's 50. The leading scorer only averaged 12 coming into this weekend, as Braun tries to go inside. An unlucky tip off of the arm of Hess, and it will stay with the Minnesota Golden Gophers. .13 on the shot clock. Borovic inbounds to Braun. There's the high screen. Immediately fading, Battle all by herself. The three looked good, but just off its mark. Borovic with the slip. A great pass from Oberg. And the Minnesota Golden Gophers really showcasing what they can do on offense as such a young team. Inside now. And another big-time move from Maya BERKMAN. She is dominant on the post. They are letting her get in there. They are letting her establish her presence. And the Golden Gophers are just fortunate that she is the only one shooting the ball as well as she is, as Amaya Battle makes a great drive down the left alley and finishes it with the left hand. 23 for BERKMAN with 5:58 remaining. Plenty of time to expand. There's the mismatch as she was there calling for the ball with the smaller Borovic in front of her. Instead, the shot goes, and it will be Minnesota ball. The foul called on Bailey. Battle swinging it to Oberg. There's the pop. The shot is up and in. From deep range, it's Angelina Hammond, the graduate student out of Hopkins, Minnesota. 5'11", but listed as a guard on the roster. She shows why there, demonstrating her three-point ability. A great pop pass all by herself. Liberty trying to respond, trailing by 12. Halfway through here in the fourth quarter, and it's another bucket for Kennedy Williams. Williams has been on and off the floor in exchange with Hodges, but she is certainly having the better day of the 2 point guards. 13 points compared to Hodges' 0. And trying to draw the charge was BERKMAN, but instead she'll be charged with a block. 4:51 remaining. The lead for Minnesota continues to build. 66-54 here in Charlottesville, Virginia. Play by Battle. She gets the block call And Battle is going to get to the charity stripe. Already her club leading 66-54 with just under 5 minutes remaining here on the ACC Network Extra. I'm William Fauché. It's the final 4 minutes and 50 seconds of the 2022 Cavalier Classic, the 36th rendition of the tournament. And what a weekend of basketball it has been. We have seen stars rise. We've seen some great play. And right now, Minnesota trying to close out what has been a star-studded day for many of their players. I'm sure after the game, they will look back on their stat line fondly. As Gradwell steps back for a three, she hit her last attempt, misses on that one. Down to the ground is Shaw. Tripping over a couple of Flames players. A little tender walking up, but she seems to be okay. Now Minnesota on the inbound. Borovic kicks the Battle. 19 on the shot clock. Swinging it, looking to go inside, but somehow she manages to come up with that own little pass. They go to Shaw on the elbow. Can't get that one to go. She grabs the ball herself. And a little indecisive about what she would do with the ball. It will be Angelina Hammond, who hit the Golden Gophers' last three-pointer, called for the travel, as she is now subbed off in exchange for Braun joining, or excuse me, it looks like Hammond will stay on the floor. Braun will come on in exchange for the graduate student Isabel Gradwell. There's the shot from Bailey. Bailey misses that from the top of the key. Now Battle kicks to Braun, freshman to freshman. There's a whistle. They'll call no shot, wave it off. And it's a foul. Charge to Amaya Battle on her own drive after she had kicked that one out. Liberty with a lucky break there, trailing by 13 here with 3.5 remaining. Williams hands it off the screen, another elbow shot. That one will fall for the Liberty Flames. It's Emma Hess with the two. Battle taking time off the clock. They're so patient with their use of the shot clock, have been all weekend. As Shaw aggressively attacks, she kicks, there's the three, and Hammond knocks it down from the corner. Hammond's second three-pointer of the evening, and she stays perfect, 2 for 2. Now a 14-point lead, Minnesota's largest lead of the evening. The foul called, and Liberty going to get to the line here with 2:37 remaining.
Checking in for Liberty, number 25, Alice Markova.
A really strong shooting day today from Minnesota. 46% from the field, 33% from three-point. They haven't been great from the charity stripe, 67%, but you'll take what you can get when you've done as well from the field as they have and hold a 12-point lead with 2:37 remaining in the fourth. Battle brings it down, and the officials going to register a Minnesota timeout. Minnesota has made 5 of their last 7 field goals and are leading the Liberty Flames 70-58 here on the ACC Network Extra as we wrap up the 2022 Cavalier Classic. I'm William Fauché. What a weekend it has been, and what a evening for Katie Borovich. Slices, dices, and gets to the rim. She has an impressive 21 for the Golden Gophers. The leading scorer on the floor, only trailed by Mee Shaw with 15 as Liberty gets one to go. Oh, she thought about the 3 there. She was looking for a heat check. Instead, acknowledging the time, acknowledging the lead, they're going to look to wind this shot clock down a bit as they go inside to Mee Shaw. There's the kick. Borovich going to drive again. Hammond is up and off her mark. Up until that point, she was a perfect 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. And with a minute and 19 seconds remaining, Liberty going to call a timeout, trailing by 12 here in Genesee, and join the 187 women already inducted into the Hall of Fame. A truly special announcement for her that she got just hours before tip-off here in John Paul Jones Arena, as both teams now back on the floor and ready for action here in the final minute and 12 seconds. There is a foul called under the basket, and it will be a shooting foul, yes, against Minnesota, sending Maya BERKMAN to the line. BERKMAN came into this weekend averaging 12 points a game with a 77% field goal percentage and a 70% free throw percentage. She's got 1 left. After missing the first, it's up and it's in. Amaya Battle gonna dare her defender to come out to half court. That's now Braun. Braun with a little screen to create some separation, and now here go the Golden Gophers. It's Battle with the right, the move. She splits 2 and gets to the rim. How about that from Amaya Battle? A tremendous move, and a big time too to cap off a great weekend here as Liberty inbounds it with 48 seconds remaining, letting this one roll into Borovich. Dared to challenge her. Now Liberty driving. There will be a foul on Minnesota. And with Liberty in the bonus, they're going to get an opportunity at the line, trailing by 13. .1. Into Battle. And though they inbounded the ball, the whistle will blow for a stoppage. The official's going to apparently deliberate what is actually the issue here. Coach Whalen seems to have some sort of issue that she wants to discuss. That will give both teams a brief moment of respite. The official's going to call it for my time. Let's take another look at Borovich, a redshirt freshman. Higher, another freshman. All of these young women getting a lot of playing time, a lot of experience, and rising to the occasion time and time again. As Battle gets the ball, Liberty trying to run a little bit of a press. Steenberg gets by her, and now they will foul. With 38.1 remaining, it will be a Minnesota inbound. .38 seconds left, Liberty trailing by 11. looking to find a teammate. They'll go all the way inside to the paint. Now Battle will pop out and take it. 20 seconds remaining, and another foul from Liberty will send Battle to the line. Battle puts it up and in, and the lead is increased to 12. Off on the second, but it will be a timeout from Liberty as soon as they bring that ball down, trailing by 12 with 30. And now, following the timeout, it will be the Flames inbounding the ball with 34.1 seconds remaining. They get it in. They go to the high post. Borovic seemed like she had picked the pocket. There's the long shot. Looked like it was on its way out of bounds. It will be called out of bounds, and Minnesota will have it with 23.7. Liberty in the full court press, trailing by 12. 23 seconds remaining. They get it into Battle. Battle dribbling it up, trying to dribble through two, and it's another foul on the double team. Amaya Battle will go to the line with an opportunity to pad the stats with 20.6 remaining. Both teams in the bonus at this juncture. An opportunity to increase the lead even more, and head coach Kerry Green already calling for a timeout. As soon as this one goes, he's got one remaining and he will use it. With 20.6 remaining, trailing by 14. And as has captured 24 of 29 Cavalier Classic team titles since the tournament began in '76. And of course, no longer a tournament of sorts with a championship game, but rather just some set out-of-conference matchups and an opportunity to see some different competition as Liberty puts up the two and gets it to fall with 16 seconds remaining. Flocking around the floor, trying to get a foul. Borovic running the full length of the floor herself, surrounded by two defenders. She's looking for Battle. She's got her. And it looks like they're going to let the clock wind out. Minnesota 77, Liberty 65, and what can only be described as a dominant victory for the Golden Gophers following their loss to UVA yesterday. And with the final horn, we have concluded the 2022 Cavalier Classic here on the ACC Network. That will do it for us. For William Fauché, we're saying so long from John Paul Jones Arena in Charlottesville, where Minnesota bests Liberty 77-65.